When making any financial decision, an important concept to keep in mind is the idea of the time value of money. This is the idea that the value of a dollar changes over time because it can be invested to earn interest. Now, this concept allows us to make more informed decisions when presented with certain financial situations. It enables us to have a better idea of what will happen to our money if we choose to invest it, delay its reception, etc. Therefore, we can make a more informed decision that suits our given situation rather than just blindly deciding where to put our money. For example, we know that if we invest $1,000 today at 10% interest, we will have $1,100 1 year from now.
Having money in the present rather than getting it in the future is even more beneficial when you take into account the concept of compounding. Compounding is the process of interest being earned on top of interest. You can kind of look at it as the longer you have the money, the more time the initial chunk has to earn interest and grow. And the larger the total sum, the more interest you can earn with each period. Let's look back at the example we had earlier of an investment of $1,000 at 10% interest and will compound it annually. 10% of the initial investment is $100. So by the end of the first year, the investment will have grown to $1,100. By the end of the second year, we'll be receiving 10% of the $1,100. So we'll end up with $1,210. And the year after that, we'll earn $121 in interest, and our total sum will have grown to $1,331. If we had used simple interest, our total by the end of the third year would be $1,300. And if we look at what our total would be in 10 years, it will have grown to $2,593.74. That's almost $600 more than we would have earned if we had used simple interest.
Now, there are two ways that we can assess a time value of money problem, in either the future value or the present value. The future value method allows us to know the value of cash that is received in the future. So what that essentially means is that the future value can show us how much a current amount of money will be worth in the future at a given interest rate. This can be helpful in situations where you have to choose between receiving a smaller sum now versus a larger sum in, say, 5 years. So if you look at this diagram, if we invest X now and it grows to be larger than what Y would be in the future, then this would clearly be the better decision to accept the smaller amount now and invest it. However, if the smaller amount that we receive now does not grow to be as large as Y would be, then we should take into account factors like the safety of receiving the money in the future and potential interest rates we could get as opposed to this current one.
The present value method lets us know the value of each cash flows expressed in today's equivalent dollars. It shows us how much we would need to invest now at a given interest rate in order to have a certain amount in the future. This can be very useful used in instances where you need to plan to make a major investment, like having a down payment on a house. This method also involves the concept of discounting. This is the process of calculating the cash equivalent present value of future payments by removing the interest component that is built into future payments. It lets us know how much we would need to actually invest now in order to end up with a certain amount in the future, without the accumulated interest getting in the way of that calculation.
Another important concept to understand is annuity. Annuities are streams of equal cash payments made over uniform periods of time. These cash flows are characterized by 3 specific features. It's an equal dollar amount for each period, broken up interest periods into sections like months, quarters, semi-annuals, etc., and an equal interest rate for each period. Annuities can be seen all over everyday life, from car house payments to monthly insurance payments, or even just regular deposits into a savings account.
It's also involved in both future and present value analysis. Future values of annuity tells you the amount of money that will be in your savings account at any point in time, and present value of annuity can be defined at the current value of the equal amount that is received or paid out in a specific number of periods in the future.
we can take all of these concepts and apply them to a real-life situation. In 2016, the Powerball jackpot hit $1.5 billion, and there were two options for the winners in receiving their money: an annuity option and a lump sum option. The annuity option went over the span of 30 years with an initial payment of $22 million and then annual interval payments until there was a final payment of $92 million at the end. The lump sum option was of $930 million, all received at one shot. And if you compare the two options, if you were to earn 5% annually on the lump sum, in 30 years it would be about $2.1 billion. And if you receive the same rate on each installment annually from the annuity option, it would end up to be about $1.5 billion. And ultimately, the three winners of the Powerball took the lump sum payment of $327.8 million apiece.
There are only 4 official Powerball records of winners taking the annuity payments over the lump sum payment. However, there are several examples of winners taking the lump sum and immediately blowing the money on various things. This either left them in the same financial position they were in or worse. So clearly, the lump sum option should only be chosen if the person has self-control to spend it wisely or invest it wisely. However, both the lump sum and the annuity options depend on a favorable rate of return. This is what ultimately impacts the economic end result for those in the position of choosing between the two. In the end, the time value of money enables people to have a better idea of how to invest their money.
And it's something that everyone should be familiar with because it can help you to help your money make more money.